Stefan and I want to present to you how our pilot project evolved over the last year, and especially which tasks and topics are currently on our tables. We are especially looking forward to an exchange with you, especially the three researchers among you. And we are happy about, we're looking forward to your input. So let's start with a short reminder about the project, even if this was in part already done by Roman or Sarah before. So the project is a project from the TKFDM, and it makes the consultation of two data stewards available to all research groups at a public university or University of Applied Sciences in Thuringia, to all groups who want to improve their research data management. You can request a collaboration with us via an online form, which we will show to you again in more detail at the end of our presentation. The focus of a collaboration is totally on you, the researchers. So it is centered around your needs and should tackle a specific challenge related to research data management, of course, you are facing in the group. As always, we aim for sustainable improvement of your situation, but don't be scared. This doesn't necessarily mean that the implemented change has to be especially large or finished after a collaboration. As a good news for you, we very efficiently managed our budget in the last year, as Roman mentioned already, and there is a cost-neutral prolongation of this offer, so you still can request collaborations until the end of next year. On the next slide, I want to give you an insight into some of the topics we encounter during our collaborations with the researchers. For example, we developed a group policy on data handling. So a document which specifies which data to store where, who of the group has access, and where is all of this documented. To draft this, we of course needed to evaluate the available data storage options in the group and decided which one to use for what. We harmonized the folder and file organization and implemented a naming scheme. As a second example, we supported some groups with their first data publication, which of course involved the identification and familiarization with a discipline-specific data repository. And as a last example, we also gave several introductory workshops to Git as a versioning tool for research code. So you can see the spectrum of topics to work with us on is quite broad. Usually we have multiple topics covered in a collaboration because, as you already saw, they are often relate to each other and depend on each other. And of course, the meetings with us have to fit into your calendar. So we accompany a group usually for an extended period of time in the role of sparring partner, so person available to you to discuss your research data management topics with. So this was a short insight about the topics we encountered, but we are now interested in your challenges. So maybe you found something to relate to on the previous slide, or you have a challenge or topic we did not cover yet or did not mention. Please tell us so via this short Mentimeter survey. You find the link in the chat and the QR code on the slide. And yeah, we are excited to see what are the topics pressing to you. Of course, all the colleagues from the RDM support staff, you are also invited to share the topics you encounter in your consultations. So as you see, as you saw today, you can get acknowledgement for your work. You can win a prize, for example, if you're Thuringian researchers, apply for the next year's First Dataset Award with your published dataset. And that is one thing we get as feedback from the groups we are working with, is that the regular meetings with us create a space to think about research data management and make it to a valuable and to an accepted part of the work, which is important. Yeah, we see several topics related with data organization and finding data from previous projects. So you see there are quite a lot of topics which are relevant to you, and we would like to encourage you to collaborate with us to improve this in your group. And we will show you at the end how you can request this collaboration. So thank you very much for your input here. And I want now to finish this short insight into the collaborations we so far have had with some key observations we made during them. First, as I told you before, we are sparring partners for our partner groups, and we see a demand for an easy, approachable sparring partner, which you can easily access for sporadic advice, meetings, exchange an opinion, and especially guidance to available tools. And it helps a lot if you already know this person and this person is a little bit familiar to the situation you are facing in your group and on the ongoing projects you have in your group. As a second point, we noticed that there is a strong interest, or there was a strong interest for our first workshops on Git. And this suggests to us that there may be a need for further workshops or training on software tools that can help you with your research data management. So we want to expand this. And last but not least, the best advice doesn't help you if you don't have the tools available to implement it. So there is a need for additional IT services supporting your research data management. And you see, based on these observations, our range of tasks has expanded over the last year, and we now want to give you also an insight about these other tasks as data stewards in the following slides. Exactly. Let's start with the last point, with the IT infrastructure. As Roman already mentioned before, the TKFDM joins forces with the statewide networks of the IT centers and the libraries at our universities and universities of applied sciences to establish additional IT services for research data management. And since we are a state initiative, we don't try to establish them locally one by one, but we aim for cross-institutional solutions so that they are available to all of you. What is the role of us TKFDM data stewards in these projects? We provide a perspective from practice and suggest needed services, which we noticed from our collaborations. In the designing and planning phase of such projects, we express your demands and needs in the meetings. And on the other hand, we make the existing services known to you and inform you about the development of new ones, and of course, introduce existing services to you, give you a workshop on it so that you can also use them. To summarize our role, one could say we are lobbyists for the researchers' needs in IT infrastructure projects in Thuringia. And we want to illustrate this to you now with two examples, which you already heard before, Refodat and ELAB FTW. Let's start with Refodat. I don't want to tell you anything you already know, or you can learn tomorrow morning at 9 from our colleagues. So about why Refodat is very nice and you should use it, but to illustrate the role we took over in this project. So on the organizational level, we engaged in strategic discussions regarding the service design. So we provided feedback on how the objective and conditions of the service meet your demands and contributed, hopefully in a good way, to the user experience, which you experience on the website with some help texts. We are still engaged in Refodat on a practical level. So I'm part of the weekly developer meeting where we collaborate with the developers and discuss bugs and new features. And of course, I test new features when they are available. So you can see in the case of Refodat, our task is primarily to provide feedback from a user perspective. But you will now learn from Stefan that this role that we are getting even more involved into a service.
Yeah, let's have a look at another one. Another service that we are offering, which is called ELAB FTW. And yeah, what is it about? ELAB FTW is the name of a software offering an electronic lab notebook. And a friend of mine, he recently asked me, what is it about with all those lab notebooks and electronic versions of it? Is it really such a big deal? Why are you talking so much about it? Yeah, and I asked, I answered kind of, there are heaps of scientific domains how research is going on in labs, and every single documentation has to be written using lab notebooks. So what we offer here is a service to change from the paper realm to the digital realm, and so it is a big deal. Instead, it is, and for those from those scientific domains that work in the lab. There's good news. We have an instance of ELAB FTW running. I inserted the link, the hyperlink into the slide so you can easily find it. It's available at least at the first university in Jena. It's a Friedrich Schiller University since the beginning of this year. And we are currently working on bringing it to other institutions. Roman mentioned this before. Next one coming up is TU in Ilmenau, then Bauhaus Uni in Weimar coming up. And Ernst Aber Hochschule will follow shortly afterwards. And Roman also mentioned before that we are going to have an in-depth view on this tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And we are going to have Christina from the Schneiderwind Group in Jena also. And she will share some insights from several months, even maybe years of experience now with using ELAB FTW in a research group. I think they're splitting water with light to get hydrogen, and I'm really, really curious on their experiences and looking forward to it. So this is perfectly fine, but what do we data stewards have to do with all of this? First, we have been the one getting on people's nerves that we need a service for our researchers in Thuringia. So the role is to make researchers' needs visible, that we need the service, what I mentioned before, but also when it comes to designing the service, discuss system settings, discuss processes and policies, and constraints of the service. And that we are the ones trying to communicate the development across the institutions. There have been a whole lot of parties involved in setting up the service. I'm not going to go into detail here. Maybe we find some time tomorrow to let you know about details. But another important role that might be more interesting for you, especially the researchers, is that we are taking on an active role in the support for the service to support the team admins. Team admins are going to be our communication partners in the teams that are using the service. Some kind of super users. We might also have a brief glance what this means tomorrow. I'm not quite sure, but maybe we are gonna hear it from Christina also. We are providing introductory workshops for the software, which we did for the very first time last week in a collaboration with the ZDIF Competence Center for Digital Research at the Friedrich Schiller University. And had this first intro course last Tuesday, crowded till the last seat, I think. And we are going to, of course, offer this again in next semester. And what we are going to do also is support the transition from paperwork to digital lab notebooks. And yeah, as in form of data steward collaborations. So what you can see here, what Kevin mentioned before, and what was also obvious from the example of Refodat repository is that our roles and responsibilities are shifting towards being much more infrastructure and service steward. So I already touched the topic of training. I will let you know about what kind of trainings we offer. When I say training here, I mostly think of workshop formats. We are offering this to, for you who are going to use tools, software tools, but mostly we're trying to lower the entry barriers. If you are going to conquest new tools for your research group, already mentioned the intro course for ELAB, but also there's courses, for instance, on basic and collaborative version control using Git, using GitLab, or if you prefer to use GitHub, this might also be a topic. And we have introductions and advanced usage courses on using command line, for instance, via the Unix shell or the bash. Which is really important for working on remote computers like servers, or often the default way to connect to a HPC infrastructure for high performance computing infrastructure. So if your working group plans applying one of those tools mentioned, please don't hesitate to contact us. And the easiest way is to send us an inquiry so we can support you. And I'm gonna show in a moment how this inquiry looks like. There's no magic involved. But speaking of you, we have another attack prepared, and we are going to use the same Mentimeter survey that we used before, and would ask you to let us know what on which topics would you like to have training for your group, and invite you to once again participate in this short Mentimeter survey. A special invitation to those of you working in research, so that we know about your demands and needs and can do our best to fulfill it. Let's give ourselves a few seconds. And also, if I'm switching back to the presentation now and something comes to your mind, don't hesitate to write it so that we have a nice collection of things to take away. I'm thanking you very much for your participation. Please don't feel pressed or under stress if I'm continuing with the presentation now. With a short glance into the landscape in Germany, I mean the REM landscape, one thing that you might find out is that you very often find data stewards that are shared resource for an institution or for a service or something like that. But what you rarely find is what we do, namely sharing data stewards between institutions or even in a whole federal state. And that's why people are interested in this model, in this pilot project that we are doing. And we had the opportunities to talk about our experience, about the concept and our insights that we already gained on the Data Stewardship Goes Germany conference, the conference fellowship of the data meeting. Roman already mentioned that we had other forms of exchange about this, about our pilot program in the round of the state initiatives. We have also exchange with initiatives who want to build up similar service like ours. For instance, in Berlin, at the Berlin University Alliance, or in Graz coming up next. Yeah, exchange is going to be a little bit elaborate more. So this is one side of the coin. The other side is that we are also engaging in community exchange because data stewardship community is comparably young in Germany. So there is an urge for exchanging in a community so that we can learn from each other. and yeah, from the experience that others make. As that's why we are engaging in the Data Stewardship Goes Germany community also, not only there in the community in general, but also in the working groups that have been founded there and building the community building efforts. So if you want to know details, get to us, get in contact, please. We will provide our email addresses on the last slide. And what, we have in mind doing this is, of course, becoming better data stewards so that we can serve you best with your challenges in REM. And what is included into this is developing our skills to be better support for you. And often when adopting REM practices, you are challenged with changing routines and behavior. So we took part in the training for agents of change. And there is kind of a network evolving from people talking about change management and research data management. And we are part of it. And also can be considered consultants. So what we trying to become is better consultants so we can serve you better. And there's a training plan for us to be better at your service. So let's come to the close to the end. I promise that we might want to have a look at how you can get into contact with us and to how to get into a collaboration either in the form of a workshop or in form of something more continuous. And the way to do it is inquiry. There's a short link provided here, but I can show you how to reach it. For that, I will quickly have a look on our website again. This is a website that the short link leads to, but if you are landing on the on the homepage of the TKFDM, which you can find under Forschungsdaten Thüringen.de, then you can head on to activities. And there you find, for instance, amongst others, about RefoDot and so on, and ELNs, the data stewards. And there's on this landing page is a whole lot of information about how we thought these collaborations to look like and so on, and how the frame of the service and so on. But what I'm going to show you now is on the bottom of the page there is this little button in dark color, and if I click it, I'm coming to the inquiry form. And what we ask for here is, so if you're trying to collaborate with us for some personal data, how to contact you, which is basically name, email address, and where you're from, in which research area and you are working. So the idea behind this short piece of the inquiry form is to get to know you a little even before we meet, and to get some ideas what our collaboration might be about. Also for engaging members from the TKFDM who might be domain experts. So this is why we ask questions like, in which research area are you working? Is it big enough, by the way? Maybe I should have this a little bit zoomed. So we are asking, once again, we are asking for the research area where you are working. If you have a title for a collaboration in mind, please let us know. And then we ask for some details about what our collaboration will be about. If you have any idea how long it might take to collaborate, please let us know. And this is only for planning reasons, so that we have an idea how much this is gonna cost us. And then we want to know a little bit about your team. This is for the exact same reasons. How big it is, if you have partners involved, like external partners. This is also heading over to another topic, to the realm of data, so that we get an idea of which kind of data we are going to work together. For instance, if it's about industry partners or external partners. And if you already have someone in your group who's reliable for data, like a data manager or something, then please let us know beforehand. Or if there is data already published or planned. And like I mentioned, this last section of the form is especially for us to gain a better idea of what the collaboration is going to be about, which we will find out anyway when we talk the first time on, to find out in which form the collaboration is going to best serve you. So with that being said, I'm heading over to the presentation once more. But the only thing left here is to say thank you much for your attention and to invite you to exchange about questions, about answers, and about your comments. I already saw that something has been going on in the chat, so I'm curious what's going to happen now and open for your questions. And so is Kevin.